For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. We've had that introduction, like 2 years already, and I still get a kick out of it because I guess there's a bit of truth to it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your time. It is Friday, March 2nd, 2018. We're heading into Oscar weekend. And, that means that I get to live tweet and pretty much mock Hollywood because it's almost the end of award show season. You know that the celebrities are patting themselves on the back, and they have been since, the beginning of January when all of the award shows start with the Golden Globes and the SAG and everything. And so I'm going to be live tweeting Sunday night. Follow along at Jeremy D. Bradley, at Jeremy, the letter D, Bradley. And, as always, our friends at Entertainment Tonight are going to be covering the big show and then have full recaps on Monday. So that's on Entertainment Tonight. Check your local listings. And our friend Nancy O'Dell, host of ET, will be joining us a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about the awards, the snubs, the predictions, and the fashion, the red carpet, right? Because that's what a lot of people end up watching. You might not even watch the award shows. You just want to see what people are wearing. And Big Brother Canada returns to Global for our Canadian friends, and Arisa Cox, she's the host of the show, will be joining us to preview the season. So we've got a lot happening today. We're going to get right into it. So Nancy O'Dell from Entertainment Tonight and Arisa Cox, The Scribble is back right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Celeb spotting on The Scribble.
Well, as awards show season comes to an end, the Oscars, the biggest night for movies, handed out this weekend. It's happening Sunday night on ABC. And of course, our friends at Entertainment Tonight have it all covered. Nancy O'Dell is joining us on the line to talk about the big show. Hello there.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good, and a little bit of Oscar craziness. It gets really busy this week, but but it's a fun busy.
I was going to say, this is like the end of award show season, as you mentioned at the top, so it's kind of a relief too, right, or no?
It is, in a way. It kind of all starts with the Emmys in September, and then you have, like, the Christmas little break there, and then January comes, and it's like boom, 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 SAGs and Golden Globes, and then you eventually have the Oscars as the last kind of big award show until we start again next year.
Yeah, but and so lots of great nominees this year, and of course I know that you love talking snubs, so we'll talk about those as well. But
because I get mad.
I know.
I get mad when my people who I think should be nominated don't make it in there.
Well, let's start with that then. Who do you think should have been nominated, or which, let's say, who or which movie do you think didn't get the recognition it deserved?
Well, Wonder Woman should have been
Yeah.
in there for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that it is a superhero movie, but that was just so beautifully shot, and the story was so great. And I think, especially in this time, it's just the powerful women, and just to me, it would just seem apropos and unique for it to make it, and I think it should have been in there. I really do. I think Tom Hanks should have been in there for The Post, but that's what I was getting ready to say. I would have Tom Hanks nominated every single year if I could, so I think that was a snub, and I think he should have been in there because I think he's just an incredible actor, and he did such a great job in that movie.
For sure. Going back to Wonder Woman, though, not one nomination, if I'm not mistaken. Nothing, right?
No. Tell me that does not make you angry like it makes me angry.
Well, I'm not as enraged, but it does bother me a little bit.
I mean, it really should. It broke all kinds of box office records. Like I said, it, spoke to the powerful woman. It was just a very well-told story. It was a beautiful story. The production was amazing. It was just, the way it was done. I'm sure that it was because it was a superhero movie that had something to do with it. But I just think that, you can step out of the box a little bit, and when the quality is there, which it was for that movie, it should have been nominated.
What about Martin McDonagh? 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. We've seen that take trophies left, right, and center. But people are surprised, though, not in the director category.
I know. I think that there were a lot of shocking nominations this year, but people are talking about, possible Best Picture winners being The Shape of Water or 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. So we'll see what will happen there. I think that, Gary Oldman, a lot of people are talking about as the possible winner for lead actor. Then, of course, you've got, great people he's up against, like Daniel Day-Lewis, Denzel Washington, tremendous ones. For lead actress, I'd say the front-runners are Sally Hawkins, The Shape of Water, and maybe Frances McDormand for 3 billboards out of Ebbing, Missouri. I'm just going to keep calling it 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. It's too long.
Yeah.
But those performances. And then supporting actress, everybody's saying Allison Janney from I, Tonya. She did such a tremendous job.
We love Allison, a friend to our show here. Now, that movie, though, or that film, people, low budget, but still a lot of nominations, but not Best Picture. Do you agree or disagree that should be in the category?
I think the performances are what stood out in that movie. I think that those are the things that you really noticed, and especially Allison Janney. But I think that was the real standout. I mentioned the supporting actress category. I failed to mention the supporting actor. I think Sam Rockwell is what everybody's talking about for 3 billboards. So I think that 3 billboards will win in a lot of the acting categories.
Let's talk about James Franco not getting a nod for The Disaster Artist because people are saying because of the sexual harassment allegations. And I've got to ask you, is that fair because of somebody's, personal life outside of the role or the picture? Like, do you think that should happen?
Well, I think that it certainly is going to, influence a lot of the voters. So I think that, it's just likely to happen. I guess that's another conversation to determine whether the performance should be affected by that or not. But it's just so hard. We're just, there's so many things that we're hearing about now, and I think you just have to listen to everybody who's speaking, both sides of the story. I think that you have to listen to, obviously pay attention to the women who are telling us their stories because they're very brave to be coming out and telling these stories and listening to them and believing them. And, it's, and then you need to hear, also the flip side of the story as well. It's just, I think everybody needs to be heard. It's very important.
Oh, for sure. But it just seems awkward, though, that, if that wouldn't have come to light, he could have got nominated for the part that the role that he played in the creation of this incredible picture. Like that seems what's strange. Yeah,
and nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows why.
Right.
Like I said, I think Wonder Woman should have been nominated. So it's just up to everybody's opinion. So we don't know for sure if that's the reason why he didn't get the nomination or not. We don't know what affected, or if it was they just like some other performance. The voters decided they liked some other performance better. You just never know what is the reason behind it, And a lot of times we go, just like for me, for Tom Hanks, I'm like, he should be in there.
Call Me By Your Name got rave reviews, but a couple of the people from it were snubbed. A lot of people were shocked. Armie Hammer, Michael Stuhlbarg. What do you think about that?
That Call Me By Your Name got a nomination?
No, that the actors didn't get it. Like, two actors in the same movie, everybody was thinking would get in.
Yeah, well, in the lead actor category, they do have the nomination. But, a lot of surprising things. And a lot of times I think what happens, and I've seen this happen having covered this so many years, is that if the movie is nominated, then I've found that a lot of times people will give the movie the vote, and then sometimes the actors won't get nominated, which it seems like it will kind of go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times if they vote for the actor, then they feel like, okay, well, I voted for the actor in this movie, so I think I'm going to vote for a different movie. So I've seen that happen a little bit, where they feel like they need to spread the votes around. I think that can happen. So that may be what is happening in this situation.
Do you see a sweep happening? Do you see anybody sort of really cleaning up this year?
I think Three Billboards is going to have a lot. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to have a lot in the acting, and, again, I think that people are talking about it being one of the front runners for Best Picture.
Okay, and now with the red carpet, everybody's always talking about the fashion, and we've also seen this award show season, the statements, people using the platform to express their thoughts and show solidarity with different movements. What do you see happening at the Oscars this year?
Well, we haven't heard of any movement so far at the Oscars, but I would imagine that you're going to see some people still wearing their Me Too pins. You're going to see somebody wearing, maybe black as a statement to continue it on. I'm sure there will be a lot of discussion on the red carpet about it, but, something could happen like it did at the Grammys, where it was just last minute for everybody to wear the white roses. So that could happen at the last minute, where they're going to make a statement that way. We haven't heard of anything, happening at the ceremony, but I'm sure something will be brought up. Jimmy Kimmel is going to be hosting for the second time, and he did a great job before, so I'm sure that's going to be great as far as the host. And the fashion, if they're making a statement or not, I think is going to be fabulous, because we've got some great people to look out for, like Sandra Bullock, Jane Fonda, Emily Blunt, Emma Stone, Nicole Kidman. Those are always show turners when it comes to fashion.
Question for you. You might not know the answer. Do you think Jimmy Kimmel's going to make any Donald Trump jokes?
I don't know. I think that, he seems like he's, always one that the hosts like to bring into their presentation. So I wouldn't be surprised. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, we do have to wrap this up. But one final question. Oprah 2020, yes or no?
Of course I would say yes to that. Oprah. I would say Oprah for anything. I would vote Oprah for anything. She's just as real as you think that she is when you see her on camera. She's that way behind the scenes. So she's just amazing. And, I don't know if it's going to happen. As she says, she doesn't see her life going that way, and she hasn't gotten, the sign to run. And she, of course, said the other day she was not going to run. So I don't know if it's going to happen. But, again, I would say Oprah for anything. The only thing that I feel like is that Oprah is so, truly, like, she's good. She tries to live her life right and with purpose and with meaning and with light. And politics can be so, as we know, negative. So I would say, I don't know if I see her, the personality working with the politics, because she just doesn't seem negative. Like, I can't imagine the negativity at all, like, of having to run a campaign and how that goes. But maybe she could change politics in that way if she were to run for president. Maybe all of a sudden we'd have this wonderful, positive political campaign and run. What do you think?
I think so. My concern is that politics ages you, and I don't want her getting old. I don't want her,
We need her around, don't we, for the positivity.
What would we do without Oprah? That's the thing.
I know. She brings such light, and she really does. She's the same way in person. It's just Oprah.
I know. Okay, well, I know Entertainment Tonight. You've got the Oscars covered, and so I guess we'll see a full recap. What can we expect on Monday?
On Monday, we have all kinds of good stuff. Of course, we're going to have it'll be all Oscars, basically, come Monday, because that's what we do. It'll be all Oscars, but you'll have the great behind-the-scenes stuff. You'll have the great red carpet moments where, one celebrity runs into another, and you'll see somebody who's completely going fan crazy over another celebrity, and that's the fun part. I like the unscripted moments, even where, it's not like necessarily a question-answer, but the camera's catching two celebrities meeting for the first time, or somebody being an admirer of that person's work, and those unscripted, like, really candid moments are just so much fun. So that's going to be part of the coverage on Monday. And then, of course, we're going to have all the big parties and let you know what everybody's doing after the Oscars, and we'll have the reaction from backstage, just, covering it the way that ET has done for so many years.
Well, we will be watching ET. Everybody, check your local listings. And Nancy O'Dell, thanks so much for joining us again, and enjoy the Oscars.
Thank you very much. It's good to talk to you.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Celeb spotting on the Scribble.
We know that in today's world, someone is always watching, and Arisa Cox reminds us of that every other day, every day on Big Brother Canada. Wouldn't you know it? Joining us on the line to talk about the new season. Hey, Arisa.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm thrilled. I mean, the beginning of any season, it's basically Christmas to me, and the fact that this season almost didn't happen, and it really was because of the fans that were back in the first place. So, I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm in heaven.
I gotta be a cynic in my job. I've gotta say publicity scheme. But it was announced almost like right as the season ended that the show was canceled, and then there was this online campaign and people, petitioning into it. Was that legitimate? Was the show really canceled? Be honest. Come on.
Well, let me give you the real. So I've been in TV for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been through everything you can imagine in terms of TV shows being canceled, networks being bought out, things wrapping up, things starting up. Like, television in Canada is especially crazy because shows don't usually have a ton of shelf life. There's just a few shows I can think of outside really sports and news that have been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember every single year when the show wrapped, we usually find out within the next, a couple weeks to a month whether or not we've been renewed. So everyone just assumed, of course it's going to be back. Oh, of course it's going to be back. It's great. It's one of the biggest shows in Canada. Young people love it. Millennials are actually watching television, and so we keep being like, okay, but, we got to keep our fingers crossed because, again, Canadian television is not like other places. We have such a small population base. So when it was announced that we were going on hiatus, I honestly just flipped immediately to gratitude because the fact that we got 5 years of a great show and a great experience for Canadians to really look at themselves and learn about each other, that's not something that comes often in Canada. So I had to just let it go, and what was incredible was that, this was, this is just like every other year. You find out after, about a couple weeks or a month after the show ends, when the networks do these things called upfronts and they talk about their new schedule, and we weren't on it. And it was, part of me was pretty devastated. But I do love the show, and luckily I wasn't the only one. So the fact that this grassroots movement crept up blew me away, and I think it blew a lot of people away who think, oh, here's just a silly reality show, but it meant so much to so many people. So the one part, I'm a cynic too, trust me. I work in media, for God's sakes. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I would have noted had I not been involved in the show was that there would be no reason to announce a change months and months in advance of a show. There would be no hype train that started for the new season, 8 months ago, right? I was incredibly impressed by the movement that crept up, and we're so grateful and so thrilled that it really was because of the fans that we came back. There would be no show if it weren't for the people who love the show. So for that, I am eternally grateful.
I gotta say, you said 20 years in TV, so you started in television when you were 3 years old. Let's just put it out there.
That's very sweet. That's very sweet. I'm turning 40 this year, my dear.
Oh.
But yeah, my first job was in news when I was 21, so I've been here, there, and everywhere, and it's so wonderful to be on something I feel so strongly about.
Well, you know, we can go on for another hour about the media landscape in Canada, and you've already touched on that. But I mean, we've even seen, you know, TV networks just fold up and go, right?
It's been done. I mean, again, when I talk to my American friends or my friends over in the UK who are, you know, big into Big Brother, it's hard for them to wrap their heads around our television landscape. But, you know, let's face facts, we have only 30 million people. Mm-hmm. So we have a very different metric for success. And I'm just thrilled because, you know, here comes Big Brother Canada, which was sort of the new kid on the Big Brother block. It's in 48 territories. And we popped up, and suddenly, you know, we're looked at as one of the best produced Big Brothers around the world. And I take a lot of pride in that, and so does all the people who work so hard on our show.
Let's talk about that, because I know there's a lot of American fans. Our friends Rachel Riley and Brendan on the show all the time. The Big Brother Canada house, though, is so much cooler than the U.S. version. People say that. There's, you know, it's more decorated, it's lighted, the technology in it, like it's really, really high production value.
Oh, well, I have to say, first of all, thank you on behalf of our incredible team. Our production designer, Pete Berger, is nominated every single year for Canadian Screen Award for his work on the show. I think that just speaks to the ingenuity of Canadians. As I said, we're a much smaller country. So, yeah, sometimes we've got something to prove. No, we won't take the easy way out. We're going to work that much harder to make sure what we do is world class. And I think that's something that, you know, bleeds over into everything in terms of our cast selection and the production value in general, the challenges. It all is part of this like smorgasbord of greatness, and I think everybody really cares, and I think it shows.
And you never tell me, but I'm going to ask again because that's my job and I have to. What are the big twists this season? Tell us the shockers.
It's very sweet of you to attempt to get that out of me.
Damn it!
I would have to kill you if I told you, Jeremy. I like you too much. I can't do it.
Okay. So I've been reading the bios. It's too soon to tell, you know, like who we're going to like or who we're not going to like. But let me just go over some of the characters because they're characters. You have to be a character to be on this show. You know, there's the oil guy. There's the single dad, which I think is the same, right? The oil guy and the single dad are the same.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's the socialite. There's the bartender. Who stands out for you already? I mean, you know, we're not even into the game really yet, but like, you know, when you were reading the bios, when you saw them on paper, who jumped out at you?
Well, yeah, most fans who watch the show know I don't actually meet the house guests until they walk into the house, and I wait to find out about the house guests until everybody finds out. I wait until that press release hits everyone's airwaves and is on everybody's radar, and everybody's watching the videos and reading the bios at the same time as me. So, I mean, the one person, just if you look at the list altogether, Rosina is 49 years old, so she's the oldest house guest. And so the person who comes in with a bit of age and maturity usually stands out because in some seasons they're one of the first people who are targeted because people use a lot of groupthink at the beginning of a season, especially a season with new players. But what we saw last season was something completely different. Here comes Karen, who became an absolute fan favorite and made it all the way to Final 2 and came in second. So I feel like she kind of broke the mold in terms of what we expect with an older player. But she is charming and cutting and funny, and if Rosina has any of that in her, and I think she does, she seems like a spitfire, she'll be very interesting to watch. I'm
just writing that down. You heard it here, folks. Rosina is winning Big Brother Canada. Arisa Cox is breaking that story.
Don't do it. Don't
do
it.
Oh, all right. Fake news is what I'm told. Fake news.
We have a really strong cast this year. I think we've got some great people and some really different kinds of people. So watching how, especially in the first few weeks of the game, watching how things shake out, because a lot of the alliances that we see developed now will last throughout the game. So this is so fun. This is the moment when people are really getting to know each other, deciding who is a threat and who's an ally. I love this part.
So you get to talk with all the contestants once they're out of the house. You interview them on the show. What is one common misperception that people have about life in the Big Brother? Like, what do they think they know, but then have all wrong once they go in there? What do you see any commonalities?
Oh, you know what? This is a strange one, but it's absolutely true. I've spoken to many, many past guests, and this is something that doesn't always necessarily translate on the show. The flop. I don't know if you've never watched the show. I'll explain it to you. If you get voted or lose a competition and end up as a have-not for the week, that means for the whole week the only thing you're allowed to eat is this thing called slop, and it's highly nutritious. Kind of looks like oatmeal, but maybe a little bit drier. And over the years, different house guests have found different ways to cook it because they're allowed to eat it with condiments. So different house guests have found different ways to eat it, but it is pretty. Again, healthy, not probably the most fun thing to eat, and they usually sleep in a very uncomfortable room called the have-not room for that week as well. I don't think anyone going in knows how much that tends to mess with people when they're not eating what they're normally allowed to eat, and they're not getting a good night's sleep. And again, this is at its heart a social experiment, right? So seeing what happens when people are put under pressure, seeing how they handle dilemmas and social interactions when they do have their back up, or when they are under some type of physical pressure as well. It's very interesting to watch, but I think it has a huge impact on the game. And that's one thing I don't know that's one thing I'm not sure translates to a viewing audience.
We've got to wrap this up. Almost out of time, but one more final question. I'm going to put you on the spot here because, again, that's my job. I love doing that. Celebrity Big Brother just wrapped up in the States. I want to know who you would cast on the first Canadian Celebrity Big Brother. The top 5 famous Canadians you would want to play that game. Who would you lock in the house?
That's a tough one, but I think I can answer this.
Okay.
Who would I like to see? I would love to see Justin Bieber.
Okay.
I would love to see Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah.
I would love to see Andrea Martin. I would love to see, Lily Singh, YouTube star, and I would love to see Russell Peters. That is a phenomenal cast, and I would watch it all. So good luck with that. Make that happen. Jeremy, can you make that happen?
I'll see what I can do. Well,
Right.
I'll talk to my friends at Wendy's, see if they'll fund that for us, okay?
Right on.
And you know what? We were listening to the previous seasons that we've had you on, and the very first time that you were on our show, we made a deal that we would cannonball into the pool at the finale of Big Brother Canada, and we never did it. So.
Oh, so what season was that?
I think that was the first season that we had you on, for season 1, and we've never done it, Arisa. So I'm gonna circle back around.
Crying shame.
I'm gonna circle. I know, because I know you love your wardrobe on the show. You're gonna have an extra outfit there anyway at the finale.
Oh yeah, I will make sure that happens.
All
also,
right.
don't hold me to this. All right.
Oh well, you know what? Big Brother Canada. So it's back on Global. Arisa, when can we catch the show?
All right. Well, Wednesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m. That's the eviction every week, and Mondays at 9 p.m. on Global.
And then, of course, 24...
If you miss an episode, you can always catch up at BigBrotherCanada.ca, where we have tons of amazing content for big super fans like me.
We'll be watching. Arisa Cox, thanks so much for joining us. Big Brother Canada on Global.
Sounds great.
All right, thanks.
Jeremy.
Thanks.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
And speaking of Twitter, again, remember I am live tweeting the Oscars Sunday night, all Sunday night, at Jeremy D. Bradley. And you know, with the Bachelor finale as well, I got some Bachelor shame. I just have to. So Sunday night with the Oscars, Monday night with the Bachelor. My thanks to Nancy O'Dell. Remember to check out Entertainment Tonight. Our friends at ET are always so great. And Arisa Cox, host of Big Brother Canada. It's back on Global. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat